Good evening and welcome to our Tuesday Talks webinar. I'm Lisa Commendatore, the Director of Student Orientation, Parent and Family Programs, and it's our pleasure to be hosting this evening's webinar, What's Happening in the College of Engineering. This evening you'll be hearing from Tom Sheehan, the Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Candy Martell, Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Academic Advising, and Lorraine Mountain, Assistant Dean for Cooperative Education. They are all within the College of Engineering. During tonight's talk, you will be invited to type questions in the Q&A pod, which is on the right side of your screen. Questions will be answered following the presentation. So at this time, we'll begin the presentation. Presenting first this evening is Tom Sheehan, Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Tom?
Lisa, thank you so much, and welcome to everyone. We're so glad to be here this evening, and I'm here with my two colleagues, Lorraine Mountain, who's our Assistant Dean for Cooperative Education for all of our undergraduate programs, and Candy Martell, who oversees as Assistant Dean all of our undergraduate academic advising. We may have met many of you at a welcome day or maybe at orientation, so if we have, it's great to see you again virtually. And what we wanted to do this evening is really provide an update on some college highlights that are happening and let you know kind of the state of the College of Engineering and talk about some new courses and programs that we're offering and may be new to you since your student first entered into Northeastern's College of Engineering. Lorraine will touch on some co-op opportunities and talk a little bit about that process in case you're new to that process with your students. Some of your students may have already been on a co-op and maybe that information will still be useful to you. And then Candy's going to take over and talk a little bit about some of our clubs and organizations and opportunities in that area, co-curricular opportunities, as well as some academic resources to make sure you're aware of what we're providing to students here in terms of supporting their success in our college. We'll end with some important dates that are coming up for the students, as well as provide a link to the calendar that can help you with other dates that you might be interested in. And then we're going to be more than happy to provide some answers to any questions you might have. And as Lisa said, we'll be doing that from the chat box or the Q&A box that you have on your screen. So first of all, let me just remind you a little bit about what a dynamic, incredible place the College of Engineering is. We have 5 departments, and you can see what a great growing place the College of Engineering is with over 3,800 undergraduates. We also, because we're a Research One university, we also have a thriving graduate population that helps us with that research and also supports graduate programs. Some of your students may be going on to, for example, pursue a BS/MS and be part of that graduate population as they go forward. We have just incredible credentials of our students coming in. That mean SAT is there of 1487. And we see it every day, the incredible talents that your students have brought to our college. So thank you for that. We have a growing faculty, over 170 tenure and tenure track faculty, another 35 or so co-op faculty, and then about 35 teaching faculty as well. We're very fortunate here to have 13 research centers that are federally funded. I often say that many universities would like to have that many research centers. The College of Engineering has that many just within our college. I'm going to talk about what that means in terms of opportunities for students here. And you can see the active funding that we have and just the plethora of academic programs that we offer. It's amazing to me still that we have that number of programs just within our college, 72 programs across all those different levels. And we're innovating every day, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. You may have heard about Northeastern 2025. This is the new vision for Northeastern University, and I'm of course biased, but I'd like to think that the College of Engineering is one of the most aligned colleges with that vision. as I already said, we're an innovative engineering education focus, and a key part of that is that we are also coupling that with a strong experiential piece. And co-op is certainly the predominant part of that, but many of our students are doing other experiential things as well as co-op to experience their engineering beyond the classroom. We want to produce the best engineers that can go forward and have a great career with the skills that they have, and that's going to mean that they're going to be innovative, they're going to be doing things that are going to benefit society, and they're also going to be global engineers, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. As I said, our research is use-inspired, which means we think it's transformative, and we also think that it helps society. So we don't work in really highly theoretical areas. What we'd like to think is our research is going to help people, society, and the world. And we really believe that when we take on a research project here at Northeastern in the College of Engineering. As I said, we like to think that we are constantly innovating every day in terms of offering new educational opportunities, and I work closely with both Candy and Lorraine in terms of developing new programs for our undergraduates who are here. We certainly have the baseline set of Bachelor of Science degrees that many of your students are probably participating in or are planning to if they're first-year students in our common first-year curriculum. But I can also tell you that our students are also asking us, and we're delivering on many new combined majors. In the past year, we've worked on and gotten approval for the chemical engineering and biochemistry degree that many of our students wanted to participate in. And a little bit further down the list, just last week, we got approval for the electrical engineering and music technology combined major. Again, this was in response to students asking us if there could be something that would link their engineering with a passion that they had, which was music. And we were able to deliver on that demand from students. I should also mention that in all of our combined majors, the root degree is always a BS in one of our accredited programs. So students, while they are getting a combined major, will always receive an accredited engineering degree, which is something we've always been proud of. Again, we're always looking to innovate, and as Candy well knows, we're constantly looking for new majors. In fact, I can tell you today that we're currently working on combining undergraduate engineering degrees with a law degree that students would be able to obtain in 6 years. When I was an engineering student, we had one open elective, and I'm happy to say that that's no longer true. Our students have tremendous flexibility in their curriculum, and that means they can take advantage of minors that we offer. And because we're at a university, they can really take advantage of all the minors across the 7 other colleges at our university. You can see just an example there, and I can tell you that our students participate in all of these. They can pursue a passion. They can do some preparation for a career path or graduate school option that they're really, really interested in. And we are providing, again, those opportunities all the time. And Northeastern doesn't have barriers to allow students to do that. And as I said, they have enough open electives to pursue these minors without being here for an extra semester or taking an overload. And that's a terrific flexibility option for our students. Earlier I mentioned about our kind of something I love to brag about, which is our mini research centers that are here. And you can see that they're spread across 3 primary themes that the university is focused on, which is health, security, and sustainability. And we have centers in all of these. What this means for undergraduates is that there are many, many opportunities to participate in large-scale and important research that, as I said, is going to benefit society almost universally across all of these centers. Your student may have participated in what we call the Research Lab Fair. This is an event that we hold every September, and it's a lot like a career fair where the different labs in our college put on a display in a central location, And what they're interested in is recruiting your students to participate in these research projects. There's nothing our researchers would love to have more than an eager, creative, innovative undergraduate working on those projects with them. And as a result, we have tremendous participation among our undergrads in our research. Our dean, Nadine Aubrey, believes strongly that all of our engineers will operate in a global society and will work as global engineers when they graduate. We are very dedicated to offering what I refer to as a mosaic of international experiences. Certainly the most broad participation is through what are known as the Dialogues of Civilization. Again, many of your students may have participated already in a dialogue, and they can participate in these starting the summer after their freshman year. We have a number of College of Engineering-based dialogues, including a sustainable transportation dialogue to the Netherlands that's been long-standing, an energy sustainability dialogue to Brazil. You can see a picture of that group from a couple of years ago on the inset photo. And every year, again, our faculty are constantly innovating to figure out new dialogues that they'd like to lead to new and interesting places. And many of our students are taking advantage of that. We also have conventional study abroad, and Lorraine will talk in a second about global co-op, which many of our students take advantage of. And because our faculty are, again, world-class researchers, they often have partnerships with international universities and are able to arrange for students to go to those universities to participate in that research. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to our Engineers Without Borders student chapter, recently voted the top chapter in the country among all the Engineers Without Borders chapters that are out there. This is a group that's doing great work primarily for clean water projects in Uganda, Honduras, and now in Panama. So there's a number of ways that students can become that global engineer that we would really like them to be once they graduate. At this point, I'll turn it over to Lorraine, who's going to talk a little bit about co-op education in the College of Engineering.
Hello, thanks for joining our College of Engineering Tuesday talk. This is Lorraine Mountain, and I'm pleased to talk with you this evening about Northeastern's Cooperative Education Program, which is an integral part of student learning here at Northeastern. At Northeastern, our co-op students engage in real-world experiences with our employer partners while exploring career paths, developing new skills, and building a professional network. In the photos, you can just see a couple of examples of our students out in the world at NASA and in a lab. The co-op experience provides our students the opportunity to add depth to their classroom studies. So we frequently have students that have learned something in the classroom that then they're seeing reflected on co-op, and vice versa. Sometimes they learn things on co-op first, and then when they get back to the classroom, they're able to share their real-world examples with the class and really enrich the material in the class for everyone. They also have the opportunity to advance their skills with increasingly progressive responsibilities, both during a single co-op, and then if they're doing multiple co-ops, of course, their responsibilities progress further. They build their confidence and their professional brand during their co-ops, and they also have the opportunity to discover their passion. Next, I'd like to give you an overview of our co-op learning model at Northeastern. This co-op learning model allows students to participate in the 3 stages of learning in experiential education. You'll see in the little diagram, the 3 parts are preparation, experience, and reflection. And I'll talk a bit about each of those parts. First, in preparation, students take part in a full semester course, and they also have the opportunity to work one-on-one with a co-op faculty coordinator to help them prepare before they go out on their first co-op. The experience stage is participating in the actual co-op, where at that time they have the opportunity to develop personalized learning outcomes, and they also participate in an assessment process with the employer at the end of the co-op. And third, students reflect. While they're on co-op, they're doing online guided inquiries in the evening where they're reflecting on their experiences as they go. And following the co-op, they're doing a student assessment that parallels the assessment their employer did. They also reflect in one-on-one conversations with their co-op coordinator when they return back from co-op. They might also participate in reflection workshops, participate in student panels, serve as peer mentors in our freshman classes, and also career peers. So there's many opportunities to reflect in many different ways. After completing the 3 stages, the cycle continues. The student that wishes to go on co-op again or participate in a different kind of experiential experience would prepare, experience, and reflect. And we teach them the tools to be able to repeat that cycle as they go on in their careers. In summary, experiential learning or co-op integrates study with professional work experience along with research, service, or other opportunities. So next, I'd like to just give a little bit of overview about how our students are prepared for that first co-op experience. To get started, our students are divided into patterns which will determine when they'll be going out on co-op. Students participate in 6-month co-ops from January to June or July to December, and that pattern is assigned after their major declaration at the end of freshman year, and we do so in order to balance the number of students in class and on co-op. The next stage in preparation is participating in the Intro to Co-op course, which every student at the university takes. This is a customized course to the college and also to the major. This is taken in the fall or spring of their sophomore year, the semester just before they're going to be going out on co-op. And here we help students prepare a professional resume and also prepare them for the interview process and what kinds of questions they might be asked. They go through mock interviews as well. Then in the class, I also have overviews of the various areas of industry that they might be exposed to as they're doing their job search. They learn all about job selection and also about self-developing a job if that's something that they're interested in. And also they learn about the application process in our software New Careers. Finally, towards the end of the course, students are learning about learning outcomes that they'll be setting when they get to the co-op, also how to set goals for their co-op with their employer, and also learn about critical writing and the reflection process that they'll be doing during the co-op. Finally, the last component in preparation is working with their co-op coordinator who provides one-on-one support and career guidance to the students through their co-op career. That coordinator is assigned during the Intro to Co-op course and will work with the student for their first co-op and potentially beyond. Next, I'll highlight the flexibility that students have with the co-op degree here, or the co-op options within our degrees here. Many students are electing to participate in our Bachelor of Science degree, which is 4 years with 2 co-ops. We also have an option for 5 years with 3 co-ops. And finally, we have a BSMS or a +1 model where students will get a master and a bachelor's degree in 5 years, and they're still able to participate in 2 co-ops. The way that happens is that each of these programs has the equivalent of 8 semesters of class for the undergraduate degree, and if they choose to go on to do the combined master's degree, the 3rd co-op is replaced with 6 graduate courses, and then 2 of the undergraduate classes are also swapped for graduate classes. On the right, you can see a sample schedule for a student that might have chosen the 4-year 2 co-op model. In this model, all students in the College of Engineering would be in classes for the full semester year for fall and spring semesters. And then most students will also be in classes for the first half of the summer. They might do a study abroad or take classes, or they may have AP credits that allow them to not take classes that first summer. Students then all take classes their first semester of sophomore year, and then that's when the co-op patterns begin in January of sophomore year. The first group will go on co-op from January to June, they'd then return to classes for a summer and a fall and go out on co-op again. And the other pattern is similar. The students just wait to go out on their first co-op until July, and that is July to December at the end of their sophomore year, and then again at the end of junior year. And all students return back to classes for senior year, finish up their senior capstone projects and the remainder of their courses.
And if I could just jump in, we've mentioned BSMS a couple of times, and the reason that program works, if you're wondering how we fit all that into a box, obviously Lorraine's talked about the fact that one co-op is used for those classes, so there's only 2 versus 3 co-ops in the 5 years, but also that courses between 2 and 4 courses are double counted between the undergraduate and graduate programs. So they are graduate level, but they are taken in the junior and senior years of the BSMS program, and that allows students to take between 1/4 and 1/2 of their master's while they're still essentially undergrads. This has become a really popular option for many of our students, and it can be done either as a simultaneous award of the BSMS, or they can receive their BS in 4 years and then go on and finish their master's in that 5th year.
Next, I'll talk about the equally important component in the co-op experience, which is our employer partners. So Northeastern's strong industry connections allow students to do their co-ops at leading companies around the world while having the opportunity to gain real-world experience. The co-op coordinators collaborate with faculty, industry leaders, and students to continue to develop new employer partnerships in growth and new technology areas all the time. And we work with hundreds of co-op employers throughout the U.S. and globally. And there's just some examples on the screen now of some of the large partners you may have heard of that we work with, including Amazon, NASA, GE, Tesla, etc. Co-ops also have the opportunity through co-op to contribute directly to research, development, design, and innovation activities at our employer partners. This is a really unique opportunity for our students to contribute to innovative new products and technologies out in the world. In this particular photo, we have a computer engineering student who has the dream job. He's testing a robotic cargo vehicle developed at a startup firm by using his skateboard. So this is not an everyday occurrence, but you know, it just shows what students can get involved in at some of our startup firms, and also some of our larger firms that of course have innovative labs and technologies being developed as well. And lastly, I'd like to talk with you a bit about our global co-op programs in the College of Engineering. Many of our students opt into the global co-op program because they're very interested in marketability for both future co-ops and also later full-time employment. Most large-size employers are global in nature, so having this experience is very valuable, and our employers have fed back to us that this kind of experience is valuable to them. Students also gain increased cultural and global understanding by immersing themselves completely in an experience in another country. Here are some examples of some 24 countries where we have co-ops at companies like Stryker, Medtronic, and Philips. And as Professor Sheehan mentioned, our students also could work in research opportunities globally during the co-op term as well, and we have partnerships with many wonderful universities that our faculty help us to develop. And next, I'd like to introduce you to Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Academic Advising, Candy Martell, to talk with you further about co-curricular activities and academic success support.
Good evening. I'd like to also welcome you on this Tuesday talk from the College of Engineering. And as Tom mentioned, we really encourage students from when they first arrive on campus to get involved in co-curricular activities. It really is an important part of the overall college experience in addition to the academic work. And one of those areas specifically is entrepreneurship. Within the College of Engineering, there's the Michael J. and Ann Sherman Center for Engineering Entrepreneurship. And in that area, there's actually some makerspace for students to work on projects and really come up with ideas that they think might be, cutting edge or something that they find very innovative. And in conjunction with the Sherman Center, then they might take their thoughts to Generate, which is a university-wide student-led development studio, and then frequently they'll then go to IDEA, which has some mentoring, some coaching, and oftentimes some funding. And so it's kind of an overall effort from both the college level and the university level to really encourage students to come up with ideas. And startup companies are often formed as a result of something that someone may have started on a very informal basis. I talked to a student one time who said that he was sitting in the dining hall and he was talking with other students and they just started to jot some notes on a napkin. They took that napkin to the Sherman Center, then went from the Sherman Center over to Generate and over to IDEA. So sometimes ideas that are just started very informally can turn into something that is very unique. And then sometimes our groups have gone to Math Challenge, which allows for a broader-based competition, and then sometimes equity funding or non-equity funding is venture capital, right, in terms of being provided to those groups. So it's an important element of the educational opportunities that are here as well. In terms of business, we have the Galante program, certificate program, which is available to students who are pursuing a master's degree in some of our BSMS programs that we've also mentioned. And that allows students to really combine their engineering education with the business world. And it is, as I mentioned, with some of the majors, when people are pursuing their master's degree, and certainly an opportunity that students enjoy taking advantage of with all sorts of extra programming and activities as part of that. There are many student organizations within the college. There are 51 for students to be involved with. Leadership is also something that students have a lot of opportunity to do while they're here. Here are some examples of some of the student organizations that are available. It's just a tiny example, but oftentimes students are involved with robotics in high school, and they want to continue with that experience once they get to campus. And the FIRST Robotics group certainly enables them to continue with that interest. The Baja SAE group is an off-road vehicle that they design and take into competitions. Tom has made mention to Engineers Without Borders, Naval Engineering. They frequently come up with projects that help the elderly and increase mobility for people with who are disabled or have impairment. So there are a lot of opportunities for people to get involved. And students find out about these organizations right at the very beginning when they get to campus, because we have a freshman night that's actually required of students as part of the Intro to Engineering class. And at that night, students not only meet upper class students who are actively involved with these organizations, but really find out about the mission of these student organizations so that they can get involved with an area that they have a passion to really round out their academic experience as well. So we really do encourage this from really the minute students get on campus. So we talk about the first year program. The Intro to Engineering class is taught by the academic advisors, and we meet with students throughout that first term. And through that, we talk about different opportunities that they have. We talk about support resources that are also available to them, not only in their first year, but as upper class students as well. We work very closely with the Gateway faculty who are involved with the First Year Engineering Learning and Innovation Center. You may have heard your students talk about their Cornerstone courses, which are project-based, and frequently the students in our GE 1000 class will try to one-up another when they've done competitions, whether it's a Pasta Bridge and seeing how much load that it can bear, or whether or not it's a small vehicle that is programmed to push other vehicles out of a ring. They get very excited about their projects and seeing if they can best their colleagues as they're having this competition within the class. We talk a lot about tutoring because there is tutoring available within the college for the technical coursework in the first year. It's right next to the First Year Engineering Learning and Innovation Center, so they know exactly where that location is. And we've got students who are upper class students who actually attend some of the classes, so they know exactly what the coursework is that's being taught in the classes, and they can help students with some of their questions when they come in terms of getting additional support for those classes. Tom has mentioned the Dialogues of Civilization. We do talk a lot about that in that introduction course because frequently it works out very well for students to take advantage of that between their first and second year. You may have heard the term new term, which refers to the summer one term between the first year and the second year. And that is actually a time when it has worked out well for first year students to take a 6 to 8 week study abroad experience with a Northeastern faculty member. And there are 2 courses that are offered. They are Northeastern courses taught and graded by Northeastern professors. And again, Tom made mention of a couple of those. But it is a discussion that we do have with students because it does give them an opportunity for a global experience. You may have met Assistant Dean Rochelle Reisberg and also Assistant Dean Rich Harris. Rochelle works with the Women in Engineering program, the Society of Women Engineers, and Rich works with the Multicultural program. Again, support resources that are available to students, not just in their first year, but certainly throughout their entire academic career. The academic advising team is also housed in the same suite as the Women in Engineering program, the Multicultural program. So we all work together. It's really very much of a team effort that we put forward in terms of making sure that students know what resources are available. We also work very closely with the honors program and make sure that the information that's being given out is again a team effort because the honors program has a number of opportunities for students over and above what we're offering in the College of Engineering, but whether it's guest speakers, their honors discovery class that they have, again, we just all work together to have consistent messaging and also emphasize the importance of the support that is available for students. We do have a very successful retention rate within the college. Our numbers last year were 94% of the students who started first year in the College of Engineering moved into the sophomore year with us, and 98% were still at Northeastern because there were some students that chose to explore majors in other areas. Within the sophomore year, we continue to work very closely with students. We have welcoming activities at the beginning in each department so the students can meet their upper class faculty, the department chair, upper class students in that major, and start to focus on their major, and also if they've chosen a minor, they will start to move into some of that coursework focused specifically on their areas of interest. The leadership opportunities in many of the student organizations, there are students who may have become involved in their first year, and then as they continue on in their sophomore year and beyond, there are leadership opportunities there at various levels. We have upper class tutoring that's available for major courses for the sophomore year within the department, so that tutoring effort is not just in the first year, but we also provide tutoring in the second year. And students, as Lorraine mentioned, are preparing for their first co-op. So they have that intro to co-op course. They're learning more about co-op opportunities and the processes that are involved with that preparation for that co-op. I am frequently asked by parents when they can make flight reservations for their students. And so I wanted to share this link that is here because the academic calendars are always posted on the registrar's website, and it's very helpful. We've listed a few of the key dates here. You can see that this is registration week, so it's a very busy week for all of the academic advisors. The students will be receiving something called a time ticket, which will specify exactly when they can first register, and it starts out with the students who have the most number of earned hours, and then throughout the week, as the time goes on, so usually the first year students have the last registration time period, but it is during this week, and those time tickets, students are well aware of when their time ticket is available. First day of Thanksgiving recess is November 22nd. Last day of classes is the 6th of December. followed by a reading day, which is when there are no classes scheduled, so that students can spend that day specifically studying for their final exams, which are then from the 8th through the 15th. Some students will be done earlier in that week, some students later, so in terms of travel plans, they have 24 hours to get out of the residence hall, so it depends on when their last exam is, when they are then expected to leave the residence hall. And then looking ahead to the spring term, the first day of classes for the spring term is January 8th. So all of these dates and many, many more are evident on that link that's listed right there for the academic calendar. And each year moving forward, that calendar is updated, so it may be one that you want to put in your favorites folder so that you can click on that and see for planning purposes what might work out best for you and your family. If you would like to have any questions that aren't answered tonight, frequently I will think of things long after I've had interaction and I wonder how I can possibly ask questions. Please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is here, and I'd be happy to get back to you with any information to answer that question for you.
Great. Well, thank you so much to all of our presenters. At this time, we'll begin taking questions from our audience. Again, the Q&A pod is on the right side of your screen. You can type in your question. We will ask that you refrain from posing personal questions pertaining to specific situations with your student. And again, as Candy said, if in fact we don't get to your question this evening, you can reach out to either the parent at northeastern.edu or Candy's email address, which was c.martel, M-A-R-T-E-L, at northeastern.edu. So the first question this evening is there a combined major for bioengineering and computer science?
Not yet.
Not yet, but I think I just put it on my to-do list. So, no, there isn't yet. And I will say, because bioengineering is so new, I think we're trying to give them a little bit of breathing room to get that program going, and it's already such a popular major. But I definitely see that in their future, that they'll start to see, especially as we get into synthetic biology and other computational aspects of bioengineering, that demand will definitely be there. It's a great idea, though.
Great. Is there computer science part of the College of Engineering?
So there is a College of Computer Science, which is a separate college. Within the College of Engineering, we have a combined major, which is a computer engineering and computer science combined major, which is very, very popular, which combines the software and the hardware for students to explore.
Okay, so someone is asking if their son is doing a dual major, is there any way for them to minor in something else?
So that's a question that may have lots of answers to it depending upon what that double major might be in, and also frequently a factor in how many courses a student can take to do combined majors, dual majors, double majors, minors. Depends on the amount of advanced standing credit that a student may come in with. So if they've got IB credit, AP credit, transfer credit from other colleges or universities, sometimes that allows for a little bit more flexibility, but a question like that would really be best answered on an individual basis with the academic advisor.
Okay, so for new term courses, is that open to all engineering students, and are the courses for engineers?
So the new term dialogues, there are new term courses that are offered on campus those courses are available online for students to look at sometime in the spring term to see what's offered here on campus. And then the new term, that would be a dialogue. There are dialogues that are open to all students. There are some that are specific to certain upper class majors. There are some, as Tom mentioned, that are specifically in the College of Engineering. So it's very, it's a broad range. I will mention that when a student applies to a dialogue of civilization, and that timing is right about now, they can only apply to one dialogue at a time. So if for some reason there's not space in that program or they don't get into that program, they can then look to see what other open programs still exist and then apply to a different dialogue. But there have been 2 Dialogue of Civilization fairs that have been hosted by the Global Experience Office in the last couple of weeks for students to get very specific information about each of those dialogues and to learn more about what the prerequisites might be for coursework or what majors, if there are restrictions in terms of what someone is majoring in.
Great. What is the process of which students search for or find a co-op, and where does this process begin?
In the student's sophomore year, they're enrolled in the Intro to Co-op course, and as part of that course, they learn fully about the process. They are introduced to interviewing, resume writing, etc., and they're also introduced to new careers, which is where we store the opportunities that the co-op faculty have developed for students to look at. The students would go out on co-op the semester following, so either halfway through sophomore year or at the end of sophomore year.
Okay, and then can we get a sense of student that does research at Northeastern for their co-op, and what % of the co-ops are in the Boston area?
We do have some students doing research at Northeastern in place of their co-ops. It's fairly popular in the electrical and computer engineering area, but we also have some in some of the other areas as well. And the students would work in a lab with a professor and likely also some graduate students that are working in that lab on a dedicated project for the full term of the co-op. And I think the other part of the question was about the number of co-ops in the Boston area. We have a significant portion of the co-op jobs that are in the greater Boston area, as well as opportunities throughout the country and globally, but certainly the greatest concentration of our positions are in the metro Boston area.
Okay, the next question would be, will there be a combined major with mechanical engineering?
Will there be more? Yeah, will there be
More combined.
Yeah, and I would say we are really amping up the number of combined majors that we have, and in fact, the one that I mentioned, which is the 3+3 with the law school, is actually with mechanical engineering because it was one that we were able to transition the most easily. So I definitely see more coming, and I would also see one coming soon that was related to robotics with mechanical.
Okay. So one parent is asking if the example schedule showed only one vacation in the summer. In practice, do they get a week or a few days between the end of classes and a new co-op?
Yes. So, for example, the term that's ending now, the students would be in finals, I think it was December 8th to the 15th, and that co-op would begin on January 2nd. So the students would have a couple of weeks off there. And the same would be true at the back end. So students are if they're taking classes in summer too, they'd probably have about a week off before they start their co-op on July 5th.
Okay. Is there room for a minor in the BSMS program?
Again, that will depend on advanced standing credit that a student may have and also what the minor might be in. Just as an example, a math minor requires only 2 additional courses for most of our majors to get a minor because we have so many math courses that are required within the curriculum. So depending upon what minor a student would choose, what BSMS program that they're in, the number of graduate courses that are double counted, there are various factors. It's really important for students to have that discussion with their academic advisor. And again, it is very individually based since everyone has kind of their own area of interest and is interested in pursuing, their passion in different areas.
Okay. The next question is, when does the student need to apply for a dialogue of civilization?
Those applications are actually due now. It doesn't mean that they can't apply afterwards if there are still dialogues that have open space in them for students to go. So sometimes students will apply in the spring term for a dialogue, but again, it's going to depend on what dialogue may still have space.
Okay. Is it true you previously had a program that combined electrical engineering plus pre-med? and that was terminated? Is it hard to get advice if a student is trying to pursue this combination?
So the pre-health program is actually administered. There are two folks there, Cynthia Seltzer and Gail Begley, who work specifically with pre-med or pre-health students across the campus. It's not, pre-med is not a major here, so it's not something that could be combined with another major in terms of a specifically outlined program. There have been students who have gone into the pre-health program regardless of their major within the College of Engineering. There is no restriction in terms of any major, but it's not a combined major with any other program. It's more of an over and above pre-health program that exists here with folks dedicated to working with students who are interested in pre-vet, pre-dent, pre-med, whatever the area is of interest.
Yeah, and maybe the question, maybe the premise of the question was the electrical and computer engineering department has a strong biomedical aspect to it and has a strong history in that area. With the advent of chemical engineering and bioengineering really getting into that area, it's really spread across almost all the departments are doing something in the biomed sphere. So that's very strong representation across all the departments now because of the research that just touches all aspects of biomedical engineering across many of our departments.
Okay, the next question is, what are the benefits of choosing 5 years with 3 co-ops over 2 years and 2 co-op programs?
Hello. Both of the programs are pretty comparable. The student would get a full year of co-op experience if they did the 2 co-op option. Some of our students opt into the 3 co-op option if they're still kind of looking to find their niche, what they'd like to do after graduation. So that gives them one extra opportunity to do that.
So when does a student have to decide if they are doing a 4 or a 5-year program?
So they will be declaring their major in January, and as part of that declaration, we do ask students whether they're interested in the 4-year or the 5-year. If they're doing the 4-year, there's some specific planning, especially in terms of that new term, to look at what coursework would be required. So we would be collecting that information in January. It doesn't mean that students can't change their mind after that, but again, they'd be working very, very closely with their academic advisor on an individual basis.
Robotics is emerging at Northeastern. Why is it associated with electrical and computer engineering program and not mechanical engineering?
I would suspect there's some mechanical engineering faculty that would question that. There's plenty of robotics in mechanical engineering as well, and that's what we're finding as we are in the final stages of developing a robotics minor as well as a master's degree in robotics, that this is going to be across both ME and electrical engineering as well as computer science. So you probably are seeing a lot about a couple of the faculty that are very prominent in that area in electrical, but I could say the same thing about our mechanical engineering department as well. It really cuts across all of our departments, and that's how the degree programs with robotics are going to be reflected.
When we were showing the freshman schedule, A and B both showed summer 1 as classes and study abroad and summer 2 as vacation. How does this fit with the BSMS degree track?
The BSMS curricula are actually online if you go to the College of Engineering website, and you can take a look at it. Again, depending upon what credit a student may have come to Northeastern with or what their area of interest is, we look at how that course sequencing takes place and have a discussion with the student in terms of when they would be in classes and then when they would go out on co-op and then what courses would be used toward the BSMS program. The way that the BSMS curricula are designed is that students have general electives available to them and they use those general elective slots to then take the graduate courses toward the BSMS completion.
Is it possible to help in research along with a co-op?
There are numerous opportunities to do research at Northeastern. It could be outside of co-op part-time while you're in classes, or you might choose to substitute a full term and do research while on co-op. So those are some potential options to consider.
Is there a deadline for when minors must be declared?
There is not. There are some students who are actually declaring them or thinking right now about what minors they would like to choose if they're first-year students. Some students choose as early as their second semester of their first year. Other students may declare in their second or third year. So there is really not any deadline in terms of signing up for a minor.
If robotics got approved, has robotics got approved as a minor yet?
I think this must be my boss posing as a listener, because my boss asked me that too. We are working very hard on this, and in fact, I anticipate it will get approved by the end of this calendar year, meaning 2017 or early 2018. So the departments are working really hard on it and are being pushed by people like me and Dean Aubrey.
Okay. Can a student go on a dialogue in summer of their junior year?
Absolutely. Students can actually choose to go on dialogues in any of their summer terms in their career here. So again, you would look at what courses were being offered and how that fit into the fulfillment of degree requirements. They may have some core or new path requirements they need to fulfill that may be fulfilled by a dialogue, or it may be an upper class course that would fulfill a technical elective requirement. So depending upon what the dialogue is, students can choose to go at any time during the summer as long as it fits in with that schedule of coursework.
Okay. What's the difference between combined major and dual major?
So we actually don't have anything called a dual major. We do have combined majors, which we have mentioned, and again, those curricula are online on the College of Engineering website. And a combined is a prescribed set of courses that are outlined that show exactly what coursework is needed to be taken. We don't have anything called a dual major. We have something called a double major, which means that a student might decide to do any combination of two majors. And in that case, they work with advisors from both programs to determine what coursework would be required to complete that double major. And it just depends on what that double major is with. If it's with economics, it's a completely different set of courses than it would be if it were in business. So it just is very individualistic again, and the student just works very closely with advisors from both programs.
If a student desires to take an engineering course that is not offered in the student's non-co-op semester, how easy or difficult is it to get the course added, and what is the process?
So a student can always opt to take a course while they're on co-op. The only caveat I'd put in with that is it's not included in their financial aid package. It's typically maybe an extra cost to take that course. And we often allow students to take online courses if they so choose. If they're in the Boston area, they can certainly take a course while they're on co-op. I'll defer to Candy on this, but my own experience is we don't have a lot of students doing that. To be honest with you, when they go on co-op, they really like truly being in that work culture and being part of that whatever company or foundation or government agency that they've signed on to work for the co-op period. So, my experience is that students could do it, but many don't. Part of it is, again, it is an added cost, and also they like having a break from school during co-op. That's part of the I think the magic of co-op.
And they'd need to take it off hours if they were taking it. It couldn't be taken during the workday or online. It's fine.
Okay, and we're just going to be taking a couple more questions. If someone wanted to find the BS and MS track online, where would they find it?
So if you go to the main College of Engineering website, there's at the top there's a bar and it says academics. If you hold over that to the right-hand side, you will see curriculum guides. And as you scroll down that page, you will see that the listing of the majors that are offered there, and it will specify BSMS. And you can click on those links that are there, and it will show you exactly what coursework is required for those BSMS programs.
Okay, and our final question of the evening is there a certain GPA required for a dialogue?
I'm not aware of one, but again, the dialogues have specific information for each one of those. So if it's restricted to upperclassmen, if it's restricted by major, if it's restricted because it's for students in the honors program, I would suggest the students check directly with the faculty member that is in charge of the dialogue.
Great, thank you so much. So this webinar is now ending. If we didn't address your question, again, you can reach out to either the Parent Programs Office or Candy Martell, and we'll happily assist you. Again, our appreciation to the presenters as well as for your participation and your time spent with us this evening.